What's up, YouTube? This is Strobe Light back again with another aquarium video, and today I'm going to go in more in depth about water quality and how that can affect the inhabitants of your tank. Right now I have this little otosynchus in a breeder tank just to kind of keep him separated so I can keep an eye out on him. He's gotten really skinny and very lethargic. He hasn't been eating much, but I did realize that my heater was not working today. Oh, there he goes. He's starting to move. That's good. And it got a little cold, and I don't think he liked the cold. These guys are very picky about their temperature, and that's one water quality parameter you need to look out for in a fish tank, especially if you have tropical species. The otosynchus and like these guppies I have and my betta fish like a temperature around 78 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. They like a little bit of warmer water. So you always want to have a heater to keep it up there, because if not, their metabolism slows down and they can actually starve to death, or the cold just kills them. The next, I would say, one of the most important water parameters to look out for is ammonia. And ammonia it enters the water from the fish's urea and poo, so their waste. And it can be very toxic to fish, get in their gills and cause them not to be able to breathe very well. And so a good way to get this ammonia out of your tank is either having a lot of substrate for beneficial bacteria to grow on, like at the bottom of my cup filter here, or doing a lot of water changes. The beneficial bacteria is good because if you're lazy like me, you don't really want to do much water changes because they can be almost daily. The beneficial bacteria actually fixes, for lack of a better term, the ammonia and oxidizes it and turns it into a nitrate or nitrite. Once they change it into this nitrite, that's also another water quality parameter you need to look out for. Nitrites are still very toxic to your fish, can affect their breathing, but not as bad as the ammonia itself. But the bacteria that you grow can be different species, and these different species fix different things, and one of these species might be able to fix nitrite, with an I. So having a lot of different things for bacteria to grow on is always good. And then once this bacteria fixes the nitrite into nitrate, nitrate is still deadly to your fish, but if you have a lot of plants and moss and stuff like I do, they love the nitrate because it's a form of nitrogen they can actually use to help them grow. Kind of like fertilizer, if you will. Another big... Where'd he go? Okay, he's happy and bouncing around now. Hopefully he'll go down there and eat that algae pellet. But another big water quality parameter you need to look out for is dissolved oxygen, and that's kind of self-explanatory. It's how much oxygen is available in the water for your fish to breathe, because they need oxygen just like you and I do. So having a lot of bubblers and stuff like in the tank, even though I have fish that can gulp air, it's still nice to have bubblers in the tank to provide the oxygen so they don't always have to swim up and gulp the air. But any other fish, probably about 90% of the fish species that are kept in aquariums, need bubblers or need some kind of disturbance to create oxygen in the water. And what I mean by disturbance is things like a filter that actually, where the water crashes into the aquarium water, that disturbance on top of the surface allows oxygen to be put into the water. So if you go to a bigger aquarium setup, or maybe even like a zoo or something, they have some kind of, let's say like a stingray exhibit or some kind of big fish exhibit, sometimes they will have these massive waterfalls that can that can aerate, that's the term. They can aerate this whole pool that these big fish are kept in. And these big waterfalls are very energy efficient, and they're also very efficient at putting oxygen back into the water. And I mean, aeration is a big thing in aquariums. Some other water quality parameters that can be of importance are things like the pH, which is how acidic your water can be, and also how basic your water can be. So you want to aim for the pH of around 7 if you're keeping, let's say, a freshwater tank like I am. It can be completely different if you're doing salt water with coral. But a pH of 7 means it's neutral. It's not very acidic, not very basic, just right in the middle. Most water that you're going to put into your tank is going to be neutral at 7. It's not going to fall under 7, which means it's acidic, and it's not going to be above 7, which is going to be basic, slightly basic. So that's always a good thing, but there can be things that dissolve into your water, or any kind of chemicals that could leak into your water that creates this pH shift, and that can be very harmful to your fish or any other organism that you have living inside of your tank. There's fish, always happy as ever. There's a couple more parameters, such as like hardness of water and alkalinity. And hardness of water is just a measurement of calcium carbonates in the water. For freshwater fish, that's not such a big deal, but for saltwater fish, especially if you have corals, calcium carbonate, since the coral makes their skeleton out of calcium carbonate, having that available in the water is very key to keeping those guys to survive. And that's what they mean by hardness, so very hard or soft water. And there's multiple ways you can actually do that. I'm sure people that own houses that are watching have heard of like water softeners, I think that's what it's called. But it's basically a canister with some kind of rock in it that actually fixes out the calcium carbonate out of your water and makes it a little bit softer. But those are some key quality parameters that you need to look out for in your fish tanks to keep these guys healthy and happy. But like I said, there's multiple ways to fix these guys. The most common way and easiest way, and the one that will give you guaranteed results, is a water change. So a 20 to 30% water change, or if your levels are skyrocketing out of the test, I would suggest 50% water change, just to get as much clean water in there as possible without basically just causing a havoc in your tank biologically. So you don't want to put too much fresh water in there that will mess up your beneficial bacteria. A couple ways to test these is, everyone see like the good drip test where you take a sample of water and you drip it into there. They come in all shapes and sizes. I actually have these dip strips. Very easy to use, very easy to read. So you just dip it in there, wait 60 seconds, and then read the levels. Unfortunately, that doesn't do ammonia, but I can get an understanding of how much ammonia is in the tank from the nitrate and nitrites level. And then the most reliable test, I would say, is the nice drip test you have here. So it gives you directions and everything and how much water to do, and it turns a different color, and it also gives you a chart to read the colors by. Very easy to use, I would say. Anybody could use it, and it's very reliable, I would say. And I think those are a key tool you need to have if you decide to go into aquarium keeping. I hope this video was helpful to you all, and don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments for me, and I'll be sure to answer them. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.